Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be starting off this video with a definition. And if you've been here for a while, you know that whenever I start a video off with a definition, like I did in many videos, it's going to be either a serious topic or a longer length video. So let's get started with that definition. Dysgraphia. What is it? Well, the way I define it in my own experience with dysgraphia is it's basically dyslexia, but for your hands. So put simply, writing and putting ideas into coherent thoughts can be very hard for me at some times. So you may be asking now, well, how does dysgraphia relate to iOS 15 in live text? Like, how do those even correlate, right? Well, Apple has done many of things to include people with disabilities in their software via voice commands, or even dedicating certain segments of their live events to showing how iOS has helped people with disabilities. I even found like an article or a PDF that I think is pretty sure it's from Apple, outlining how their own products can help people that have dyslexia, that have dyscalculia, and dysgraphia, right? So as someone with a disability, I wanted to stress test their new live text feature on iOS 15. And before you go down there in the comments saying live text is not made for handwriting, it's made for reading signs or phone numbers, this test is still very important. Because in WWDC, Apple made it very clear that it could read handwriting, and not allowing people such as me to take full advantage of this feature would exclude a lot of people from using this amazing feature that Apple's given us. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm going to get into what I did, then I'll talk about results and my conclusion later after that. So, to test live text, I started off by creating 3 sample texts, one being this is sample text, the second one being a grocery list, and the third one being a to-do list. The reason why I chose those is because I thought that would be what someone would actually use live text on a day-to-day basis, and to make like a more realistic sample. So what I did is I wrote each of those 3 sample texts 3 times, one with a pencil, one with a pen, and one with a marker, and then individually scanned each of those texts to test on accuracy on what the algorithm or live text thought was a word. And it's pretty accurate. It picked up all but a few words coming from the marker sample, which I'm not too disappointed from, because the words from the marker sample started becoming a blur rather than an individual word, so I can't really fault the algorithm that's determining what a word or what isn't a word from not picking those up. I also used some of my school notes to get a more realistic sample of what my handwriting would be on a normal basis, and the accuracy did take a little bit of a hit, but I was still very surprised on what it was actually able to pick up, picking up most of my notebook pages, which I thought it wouldn't get a single like paragraph. Honestly, like it blew me away the amount of stuff it was able to actually pick up. It was crazy. It did have a lot of trouble with picking up the like spacing in my words. So for example, if you see I wrote the word containment, right? But it didn't recognize that there was a C there, but it did recognize that the O and the N made a word, and then it said, oh, this is a word, but the rest of it isn't a word. So there's a bit problem with spacing. It also seemed to have a lot of trouble picking up the first letter of words as well. The one thing that did disappoint me a tad bit was the transcription of the words. So after scanning the actual like sample text in my notebooks, I remembered that in WWDC, Craig Federici was able to take what he scanned, his handwritten notes that he scanned on the whiteboard, and send them to someone through an email, right? So I was like, okay, well, let me test that out, because that's part of live text, so I got to test it out, right? So whenever I scanned the sample text and sent them over to my notes app, it was a big jumbled mess, and it's kind of funny, so I wanted to read some of them to you. Energy, R, speed, K, kahil, scarcity, gravitational potential energy, some Japanese symbols that roughly translates to meeting. With everything considered, live text is not that bad. I can't truly determine if dysgraphia has a significant effect on the readability of my handwriting. I think it does, at least on the scanning part, but there's something to be said about the horrendous transcription. I did try to get some other samples from different people, like my family members. I had them scan their handwriting through live text, and the transcription was still bad. So I can't truly determine if dysgraphia does have an effect on the transcription side of live text. I think it does as well, but I'm not clearly sure, because I think whenever I scanned out my handwriting, it was a little bit maybe worse. What's so confusing is that it worked perfectly fine on the demo for WWDC that Craig Federici did, right? This is not to say I didn't have any successes, but the failures outweigh the successes by a literal landslide. It's crazy how many times it just did not transcribe what I said. There was a few ones that were kind of sort of what I said, but most of them were out of the ballpark, thinking that I wrote a string of numbers rather than coherent sentences. It's crazy. I'll show some on screen to show you more of what they look like, but it's crazy. At the same time, I can't really fault iOS 15. It's still in a developer beta, so it's still being worked on, and I know it's going to get better, like everything does during the beta period. And also, it could be a fact that handwriting is it's such a huge variable between different people. Like, I write a certain way, but you may write like completely different than me. So I really can't fault it for not accounting for everybody's single handwriting, because it's kind of impossible to account for everybody's handwriting. But I didn't expect it to be this bad, I guess. I am wondering how Apple is going to fix it, and if there's anybody from Apple watching this video, perhaps, I'd love to communicate with you, and I'd love to talk about how we could fix this or change it or something. I don't know. Help you out. I wouldn't mind. Anyways, I'm really excited for live text to come out. It's going to help me so much with not only organizing my notes, but understanding what I actually wrote, because I can't even read my notes sometimes, which is pretty funny. Either way, I will be revisiting this whenever the public beta comes out. And yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was good to listen through. I know like longer content doesn't really do too well on YouTube, but I hope you had fun. I hope you liked the video. And if you did and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Love you guys so very much. Bye.